So here's Johnny at the first event of the season for him at intermediate. So I'm working on going straight down my center line, and we have to halt. And knowing Johnny, he does not like to halt, especially in this arena, so he's going to be a little bit of a turkey and go a little sideways, and then he broke into the canter, but I really pay no attention to this. I'm using this as, a training tool, and so I correct him, and now we're in our shoulder in, and I'm really just trying to help him get rid of his tension, like when he tried to spook there. So he really doesn't like the other horses schooling around the arena, but it's really too bad. He needs to stay rideable and stay focused on what I'm asking. So the first shoulder in wasn't too bad, and then I asked him for the trevere or the haunches in. And I'm trying to work on getting him to come through and over his back. So when he gets tight, everything gets tight, like as you can see there. And so when that happens and he spooks, I'm going to use that as to bring him back down to earth a little bit and then work on getting him to come over his back for the medium trot. And I'm going to use my corners to get the bend. And again, I need to have my leg position a little closer to the girth to really get his rib cage suppling. This shoulder in isn't too bad. Angle is fairly decent. Then I do my 10-meter circle. All things considered, even though he was spooking, he was still giving me better correct work. So he was allowing me to ride him even though he was having moments of tension. So then this trot's becoming much better. I'm going to prepare him for the medium across the diagonal. And in this test you can do the diagonal mediums in posting, and I decided to do that. It can be posting or sitting, but I wanted to do it posting so it could help free his back and really get him to come over, as he likes to hollow and kind of flip his toes sometimes. So coming to that corner, I asked him for the halt, way sooner than he gave me the halt. He kind of blew me off a little bit. So that created our halt to be not square. The back was meh, it was okay. But what I'm really happy with is the feeling of the walk. So he's walking, which is big for Johnny, especially first event of the season. Walk can always be a little tough for us sometimes, but he's marching and he's stepping through. Sometimes he likes to kind of bob his head and avoid the contact, like you can see there. So now I'm collecting him for the canter, and he's very smart. He knows it's coming, so I have to make sure he stays on my aid. So that was fairly decent. So now we do a serpentine with canter trot, or canter walk canters, over the center line. I'm going to close my leg, walk. He comes above the bit still, and that's just, again, the tension that he starts to build. But I'm just going to stay relaxed and keep asking. Again, the key with him that I've found is you really can't let any of that affect you. So any of his drama, emotional antics, I just really laugh at him about, and I'm really just working on each movement on its own. So that's how I figure I can keep gaining the points, and just isolate the tension when it happens, and then create nice moments when I can get the rideability. So now we come across the diagonal, which he gets a little anxious because he thinks he's going to do a lead change because he thinks he knows everything. But I just tell him no, cantering straight. We're going to do a canter walk canter at M. This is actually a really good test for him, the beginning of the season, because it makes him have to listen to my aids because we're doing so many transitions. So I really do enjoy this test. We do another medium canter. And he did pretty well, actually, listening to me and listening to my seat and the aids instead of being kind of a freight train like he can be sometimes. So now we're going to go across the diagonal again for another simple change. Canter, walk, canter at H. Now he's starting to listen pretty well. I'm able to do that with only 1 or 2 walk steps. We're ending the near the end of the test. I'm going to work on a little shoulder 4 here, preparing for my half 10-meter circle to the center line. And I now have to ask him to trot. Sometimes can be a little difficult, but he gave it to me. And halt. Halt's fairly square at the end, and he finally worked through it. Overall, I was really happy with the test. We got a decent score of a 35.9, so got some good workability in there. So moving on to the show jump. Show jump, I can have the same issues that I have in dressage with him hollowing, so really been working on that. He jumps the first jump really good. And the biggest thing I need to do with Johnny is to keep his shape. So I'm going to keep him coming through the turn. This was a 7, which you had to kind of get on down that line there. And now I'm going to take my time here in the corner to get his shape back. Jump the Liverpool off the turn. He was very good. He felt like he was really trying to wrap around the jumps for me. Now I'm going to use a point of turn to come to this oxer. It was a little gappy there, so now I have to make sure I get him back for this combination. And again, I'm going to use my corners to get organized. And this is a really vertical, so have to think of when you jump a vertical with your shoulders, you want to think like you're jumping straight up to the sky. So I have this vertical 1 stride. Even though I'm thinking I'm jumping straight, I'm still kind of giving over the fence, but it helps him with his shoulders. And I got a little close to that last oxer, but he jumped it well. And then coming to the last vertical, and he jumped really nice, clean round. I was very happy with him and the feeling that he gave me. Then moving on to cross country. Of course, this is Johnny's forte. So my goal is just to kind of give him a really nice gallop around. This walked in a 3 stride, but it was a 2 stride. So I made sure to hug that inside line to get the 2. And then just really trying to maintain his speed because he's really happy to get on with it and go for a gallop. And my goal also is to work on, minimizing my distances and finding my strides out of the gallop stride. So that was the sunken road. We just had to jump a jump and then go through the hill down in the bottom and pop over a jump skinny at the top. And then coming to another large table. And I'm so lucky to have the ride on this horse who has an amazing gallop. He's such a great cross-country horse. Coming to this chicaner, which was a going 4 stride to a chevron. And he's so great. He searches for the flag. So once you have a trained horse, for those skinny fences, they really like to search for it, which is a really great feeling. So coming to the water. Going to make sure I can get in close so he wraps around it. Sometimes with him he can jump a little steep going into the water, so I really have to make sure I keep my leg, and I also have to kind of stay off his back so he doesn't hollow and drop too soon. And I make sure I keep on galloping after I'm finished through the combination. Found that out of stride, which is such a great feeling when you can see the jump and you're right in a really good rhythm and balance and the horse has, literally no effort to jump the jumps. Balancing here for another chicaner to a corner combination. And he was just super. He marched right around. We had a couple of seconds over the optimum time, but I was really happy with his first run of the season.